Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Hope we're all well. Hope we're enjoying our Tuesday afternoon. I'm recording this. Big news currently coming out of sort of the Spurs Spurs situation. You know, we'll talk about obviously Stellini getting the sack last night, but also what's come out from the players and something quite interesting I found out today about a committee. I'll explain it all and the absolute nonsense that it is. But yeah, let me start with Stellini. Last night was released from his role. Obviously, Spurs sacking Conte, appointing his assistant as the interim, and then now sacking the interim to appoint his assistant to now be the interim. Make that make sense. Anyway, obviously, after the debacle of a 6-1 defeat, he's been released from his role. Ryan Mason now comes in to be the interim manager. I can't lie, it's not Stellini's fault. I'm not going to sit here and slag him off whatsoever. It's not his fault that we have cowards as players and we have incompetency from the board as well as the squad himself. It was always a really weird situation for him to come into. You know, they sacked his manager, who he's been with for years, and he plays the same football as the manager did. So you might as well just keep the manager. You know, you see why it doesn't make a lot of sense. A lot of the sort of tier one sources were talking about how the squad were bewildered with the decision that Stellini was going to be kept on as the manager and it wasn't given to Ryan Mason. And a lot of it came from Paratici to say to Daniel Levy, look, just put Stellini in charge. That's the move that you should make. Obviously, Paratici is pretty well evidently clear that he can definitely make those great decisions. It was never the right decision. I'm not going to blame Stellini whatsoever. I'm not going to sit here and say he's rubbish, he's amazing, he's this, that, and the other. I'm not going to do that. He was put in a lose-lose situation, if I'm honest. I never saw him lasting to the end of the season purely because of the toxic fan base that we are. And we showed our true colours many times. So Ryan Mason coming in now, yes, it's probably the logical move, but let's be frank, it's the same thing we've done before. It's probably the same thing we'll look to do in the future. Ryan Mason coming for 10 games, you know. I'll obviously support him and put some faith in him, but let's be real, it's not changing anything. Nothing's changing. It's just the same merry-go-round every single time when we come to a manager that all we do is get rid of him and bring in Ryan Mason. You know, I just don't get it personally. Obviously I know probably the manager that we're going to be getting is going to be coming in the summer, which I have no issues in theory. But look, maybe falling out of Europe maybe isn't a bad thing. Maybe actually falling out of Europe, actually can be a great thing. You look at Chelsea. Chelsea have won the Premier League after not being in Europe for a season. Liverpool rose up the ranks quite quickly for not being in Europe for a season. Arsenal weren't in Europe last season, and I know obviously I know they didn't win the league, but they definitely climbed the table quite a bit. It can be beneficial. Yes, the revenue's not as good, and yes, the sponsorship might be, a fraction of what it was the season before, but sometimes you need to strip it back to restart it. And I'm not saying Spurs need a rebuild. I think the retool is the way we should be looking at it. We do have some good quality in that squad. We have a lot of average and deadwood, but we do have some quality in that squad. And what a rebuild isn't, let's buy some players, let's bulk out this squad, let's surround those guys with real quality. A rebuild is selling those world-class players. Well, I'm not saying world-class, Kane's world-class, but selling your good players and redoing it with young players. We need a retool, not a rebuild. A retool and a rebuild in one, and maybe, if you want to think of it like that, but it's not a rebuild. It's definitely not that kind of job. Obviously, my feelings, I hope it's Nagelsmann. I hope he's the guy that comes in and takes us on next season and really takes us up a level, brings in a style of play. I think that's a big thing I noticed this season. There was no real passages of play and link-ups of play. You see it from Arsenal, you see it from City, you see it from Liverpool, you see it from United from time to time. Newcastle show it. There is no pattern of play for Spurs. So Nagelsmann would definitely do that. Nagelsmann is, I'm not going to sit. He got sacked from Bayern. Look at Bayern after he's been gone. Shell of themselves. Actually doing a good job at Bayern. So that's quite funny. He obviously, Alex Crook has said that he's a lot more open about the Spurs job more than ever. Alistair Gold has said the same thing. So you can tell the wheels are in motion. I think Levy's probably been blowing up his phone, being like, "Look, what do you want? How do I give it to you? What do you want more of that?" What I think Levy needs to kind of bite the bullet. And I said this to a friend. I said, whatever he thinks the right decision is, do the absolute opposite. Because normally, if you do the opposite, that's the right move. We don't want that player. No, go buy him, because he's clearly going to be good enough. He's clearly going to be what we want, So we'll probably know more about Nagelsmann as time goes on. I'm not going to go on to that one too much. Everyone knows that he's the guy that I want. So anyway, moving on a little bit about the debacle from the 6-1. It's come out literally today. The players are refunding the travelling fans' tickets for the game. Now, first and foremost, this is already quite late. This should have been announced Sunday evening, straight after the game. Look, we're really sorry about the performance. We didn't do this, didn't do that. We will refund you your tickets, first and foremost, right? It should not take all the way into Tuesday. There's been a day already. Fans have been getting more and more annoyed, actually, because we've had no sorry post. We've had no communication from the club other than Daniel Levy going, "Coys, Daniel." Now, side note, if you want a good laugh, go onto any Spurs Twitter posts and just scroll. Just scroll. It's a fantastic unified fan base, actually, for once, to kind of say, we want Levy out. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's what's been needed. I think there's quite a few Twitter pages that, and I'm talking about fan pages here, of Spurs fan pages, who, be frank, haven't done enough in regards to this. They've blamed Conte, they'll blame Mourinho, AVB, Poch, they'll blame Stellini, they'll blame Mason at some point, no doubt. They've never been blaming the owners until it's become cool. I've been saying for a little while this season, Levy should be gone. We need him gone. It's not on the manager. Levy needs to be gone. These pages haven't, and they've been saying, no, Conte needs to go, Stellini needs to go, we need this guy, we need that guy. And all of a sudden, now because the fan base have gone, we want Levy out, they've gone, oh, let's get on this bandwagon to look good, let's get Levy out. They're absolutely, it's just an absolute joke, those fan pages, I can't lie. So, okay, thank you that you finally decided that you want to speak up and refund some tickets, refund the travel as well. They had to travel up there. They wasted their whole Sunday, potentially a whole weekend, going up to watch you guys put that absolute shocking performance in. Not only should the tickets be refunded for the actual game, travel should be refunded. Hell, any food and drink you got there should be refunded. You should be paying out of the pocket quite a bit for that performance, because that's pathetic. So that's my little rant about that. Now, this committee thing, I just want to quickly touch on it and how much of a lot of nonsense this is. So there is a players' committee that Daniel Levy's apparently spoken to who are really behind Ryan Mason. They really want to play for him. The makeup of that is Harry Kane, Hugo Lloris, Eric Dyer, Højbjerg. Three of those players have been well below average this season. They should not have any real say on that squad. Pierre Højbjerg's laughing after conceding the third goal. Should be dropped. Shouldn't play for Spurs this season. Drop him. Put my dog in centre mid. I'd rather him play centre mid, because at least he'd run around and give a damn. Because he hasn't given a damn. As soon as Rodrigo Bentancur's gone out, he's absolutely folded like a tower of cards with a gust of wind. Oliver Skipp's going in at half time as a quiet person, absolutely ripping into some of the star players for being slap bang average. And slap bang average is me being super nice. Below average is more fitting to their situation. Eric Dyer should be nowhere near there. He's been below average for years. He's been at the club way too long. He needs to be moved on. He is deadwood. Harry Kane, fine. Absolutely not a problem. And next season, I can't lie, I think Hugo's gone. And I think Hugo is an erratic captain sometimes when you see the Amazon documentaries and how he's ripping into players. He doesn't really lead too much on the actual field itself. And I've always had a thing, keepers as captains is always a difficult thing. I think a centre-back, a centre-mid, something right in the middle of the game. You want your captain to lead by example. You look at Roy Keane at Man United. You look at Patrick Vieira at Arsenal. Someone that leads the game by example. Someone that gets stuck in, who has such a vital, part to play in it. That's what we should be looking at. We should be looking at as keeper. And that's no offence to Hugo Lloris. Obviously, he's not decided to be the captain, has he? So this committee thing is absolute nonsense. It really, really is. The fact that we're allowing 3 below average players to come in and actually dictate to Daniel Levy what they think about this club and what should happen going forward. You'll probably find Harry Kane, if he's here next season, he's the captain next season. Mr. Tottenham, I don't mind the move as such. He's still in play. And you know what Harry's like. Harry's on the ball all the bloody time. We've got no other option but to give it to Harry. So as a captain, no problems. He would lead by example. He's quite vocal. So yeah, not a problem with that. But yeah, this committee thing is absolute nonsense. I don't think Højbjerg should be here next season. I don't think Dyer should be here next season. I don't think Lloris will be here next season, regardless if I think he should be here or not. I don't see him being here next season. And I will do a video probably in the next few weeks about sort of who needs to go and who I can realistically see coming. I'm not going to be sitting there going, right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go and get Mbappe, we're going to get Haaland, KD, but no, it's not happening. Realistic transfers and working with a realistic budget. I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to spend 500 mil. We'll sit here and say we're going to spend something similar in terms of a gross amount as to last summer, right? And that's going to... I'm going to be taking into account, the Romero signing, because also we had to buy him last summer. So that Romero deal that came about in that summer amount, what we spent plus that, I'll be looking at that sort of thing as well. There'll be more and more noise coming out about who we're going to get, who we want. A lot of it's spin from the club because we need to put out some good, feel-good rumours to make the fans go, oh, that looks good. Yeah, he'd be really good. I think I'm going to be looking at players that would fit Nagelsmann, because that's who I think it's going to be, what system we'd play, what formation we're playing, and there is going to be some, new faces in there, but we shall see. But anyway, guys, that's the end of the video today. I hope we're okay. I hope you're looking after yourselves and having a good week. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Hit me with some comments about, this committee, the refund, the nonsense about the whole Stellini situation. And obviously, if you're new, drop a subscribe. It's always good to have new people join us. And I'll see you all, lads, very, very soon. Take care.